Every month, the comments section on my Chesterfield Canal restoration videos fill up with the same type of question. Why is this canal taking so long to be restored? Today, we'll take a look at the bigger picture and explore some of the reasons why it might feel that way. Greetings from a sunny Staveley, another week, another set of temporary traffic lights in Staveley. Let's start this video on a positive note, shall we? That building just over my shoulder there, you'll see there's some activity with the blinds there up on the top floor. And it looks like people are moving in now. There's cars in the car park. The shutters are still down on the bottom. I don't know what the situation is with the bottom floor, but I understand the top floor is now fully let. God, I almost didn't see him there. Is that our resident heron? After some fish. It's the 20th of July today, so let's have a walk down to the restoration site and catch up on what's happened since our last visit. I do these updates every month, don't I? About once a month I try to get down and make a video and show you what's changed since the last time. I think what you'll notice today, there's an awful lot of concrete being poured on site since we was here last. And thanks to everyone who keeps sending me the photographs of that. It's nice to keep up to date when I can't make it down. But also what I find interesting is that every time we come and do this video, there seems to be a new section of this restoration site that I think is the most interesting bit. We've had the lock. Like last time out, it was everything that was going off at the far end, you know, the Bellhouse Basin, how that had sort of moved on since the time before. And this time, this month, I think it's this that we're about to see. So this would be the current end of navigation for this western section of the canal, look. And we had the bunding, didn't we? That was the bunding that we went right into the banking of that day you made the video on Madeline. But that bunding's now gone. And we've now got the installation of a porter dam, or a coffer dam, I've heard them referred to as well. So it's basically a temporary dam just to hold the water back, because they're actually now excavating right at the other side. So that bunding's been the end of the Chesterfield Canal for a few years now, since they extended that last section there. And that was built by the Chesterfield Canal Trust work party. Wow, look at the amount of concrete since we were last here. That's quite a transformation, that, isn't it? There's still a bit of foam work to go in there, more concrete to be placed, look, but you can get an idea now, look at the channel of the canal, can't you? Just sliding in between those two abutments. We've actually got a complete sidewall now, look, running all the way from the lock right into that channel. The lock structure itself now is pretty much complete, give or take the bits of infrastructure that are going on around it. You can't really see it from here, but the brick lining that's going on the outside of the lock, just on the inside of the channel just down here. Now they're using blue engineering bricks to match the look of the railway abutments, the railway structure there. In that last video, I asked people to comment where they were watching from. All over the UK, literally every corner of the UK. We've got Europe, Spain, Portugal, Denmark, New Zealand, Australia, quite a few people watching from Sydney. 3 or 4 people commented that they were watching from Sydney, Thailand, Kansas, USA. And most interestingly, I thought, in the county of Virginia, we've got another place called Chesterfield. So hello to wherever you're watching this video from. You'll see there's a little access way, look, just at this side of the lock. Now that's temporary, that's just to allow the workmen and the machinery just to get over the other side there. A bit more foam work going in down there. Let's have a look at the other side. Because when I said that the most interesting bit was the porter dam being installed, I might have peeked too soon there. Look at this, look at the difference from last time we were here. So there's still a lot more concrete to be poured down here, isn't there? Oh no, that's a shame. We can't have our usual walk down there. I was looking forward just to getting down there and having a closer look at those concrete walls. I seem to get a lot of frustration in the comments section when I put out these videos. And it also highlights not everybody knows what the bigger picture is with this Chesterfield Canal restoration. The missing section of the Chesterfield Canal is around 9 miles long. This might not sound very far until you look at what those 9 miles actually contain. There's a major aqueduct to build over the River Dowley, the collapsed 1.5 mile long Norwood Tunnel, and a village that quite literally built itself across the canal alignment. Those 3 challenges alone could each warrant a video in their own right. If you'd like to see the whole missing section, I've made a separate video walking all 9 miles and explaining exactly what's left to restore. 9 miles might sound like a daunting amount to restore, but it's worth remembering just how much has already been achieved. Before 1990, boats couldn't travel west of Morse Lock near Worksop. Since then, 12 miles have been restored, including through Shireoaks up to the Norwood Tunnel, and of course this 5+ miles between Chesterfield and Staveley. It's an achievement that many canal restoration projects would be proud of. So I've got the figures here actually. This is including the newest lock. 37 locks have been restored so far, 11 bridges, and there's been 2 new marinas built. Granted, the restoration over the last decade and a half hasn't racked up as many miles as those early glory years, but the current works show a statement of intent. One of the questions I get asked most often is why is it taking so long, with direct comparisons to the navvies who built the original canal. I think it's safe to say that building a canal back in the 1770s with the manpower available and restoring a canal in 2026 are 2 very, very different things, aren't they? I mean, I'd even go as far as saying that restoring a canal today is a lot more difficult than it was even 30 years ago. Some of the obstacles that these guys have had to deal with, obstacles like sewers, services, I mean there's a lot more housing and roads, and even there's railways in the way these days. Not to mention the railway that didn't end up getting built, it was meant to be running through here, that held up this canal restoration for many years. Everything restored so far has only been possible because of thousands of hours given by dedicated volunteers over many decades. Many of the people who carried out these early restoration projects sadly aren't with us anymore, or are no longer able to do the physical work. What we're seeing today is their legacy continuing. And this section through Staveley so far has probably been one of the most tricky ones to put back in. Some of the other sections that we'll maybe see later in this restoration, maybe they just need a little bit of the channel digging out, lining, reprofiling, but this has had to have the whole section of canal rebuilt. They've had to divert around things like sewers, old railways, underneath non-existent railways. So Staveley's been quite an undertaking. Restoration doesn't just need engineers, it needs gardeners, shop volunteers, cafe staff, fundraisers, administrators, people willing to give a little bit of their time. I'm sure the Chesterfield Canal Trust would love to hear from anyone who can help in any way. Many people still mention the Trust's 2027 appeal and the ambition of reconnecting the canal by its 250th anniversary. Personally, I think we've reached the point where that date matters less than the direction of travel. Every new section uncovers fresh challenges, and unexpected obstacles are simply part of a restoration project on this scale. What's important is that progress continues, because every completed section brings another piece of the Chesterfield Canal back to life and demonstrates the benefits a reconnected waterway can bring. When this phase of work at Staveley draws to a close, I think it's important that the momentum continues, whether that's progressing the plans at Renishaw, tackling sections like the Puddle Bank, or moving forward with projects around Kiveton waters. Keeping work visible helps maintain confidence that this remarkable restoration is still moving in the right direction. And I'll be doing some work this week on the Chesterfield Canal. I'm booked onto the clean-up crew aboard Madeline, where we go up and down the canal and do some maintenance, a little bit of tidying up, etc. Done a couple of those days already this year. Really looking forward to that. So the footpath's shut down to Bellhouse. I don't mean to sound lazy, but I usually can't see anything from down there anyway. I think I usually get more value out of putting the drone up. I think I'll head down to the next location I'm going to show you now. I'm going to head down the Transpennine Trail. I'm going to head down to Renishaw. So here we are in Renishaw. I've not been down for a few months, so this is all new to me. I really don't know what to expect. But obviously this is the centre of rewatering Renishaw. And what they're doing here, as you can see in front here, This is the work compound, so the Chesterfield Canal Trust work compound that's currently at Bellhouse, just by the bridge near Bellhouse Basin. They're moving that down to here. Fair to say that the weather and the ground conditions haven't really been on their side. It's been a little bit of a tale of woe for this so far. And here's the perimeter fence for the compound just here. I know people are getting frustrated. This is another section of the canal that seems to be a long time in the making. I mean, I made my first rewatering Renishaw themed video 2022 now. That's how long this has been waiting to get off the ground. But at least we're actually seeing stuff. Look, there's actually permanent stuff being here, this fence. And I'm guessing this is going to be the towpath on this corner where the canal's curving round here. I understand with regards to the overall rewatering Renishaw project, they're currently waiting on some permission from Derbyshire County Council. We'll keep our ears to the ground. We'll keep our eye on what's going on here. If anything starts developing, we'll come and do a feature on it. Lots of low-level shrubbery though to deal with. For the bonus part of today's video, I've come down just to the outskirts of Worksop, just to the west of Worksop. A few years ago, I came across this old Britain from above photo from the 1940s. It's been sat on my laptop for quite a while, and I've been looking for an excuse to feature it. This area was dotted with old brickworks and their associated sandpits, which we can see on old maps. I suppose that'll be where Sandy Lane gets its name. If you're from Worksop or you know Worksop, you might know this location, but you might not recognise it from that photograph. We'll see at the bottom of the photograph, you'll see this bridge. This was the entrance to a private canal arm, a 3¼ length canal arm at the Leewood. No, it's not Leewood, that's on the Cromford Canal. The Lady Lee arm. Get them two mixed up, those two names. The Lady Lee arm of the Cromford Canal. Just went down to some quarrying, just 3/4 mile over there. You'll see it the other side of the bridge, but there are some interesting remains further down the route of the canal to see. I have done some videos on that in the past actually. In fact, I don't know if it comes across on camera. Can you see there's a slightly different shade of green in the shrubbery, just heading off on the alignment and where the canal was. I've heard people refer to it as the bridge to nowhere, as you might just walk down the canal and walk over this and not give it two thoughts. It's just another bridge, isn't it, that you have to hop over on the towpath. There's quite a few along this route. Try to get a comparison drone shot of what it looks like today. The reason people might not recognise it is just because of the road network through here now. It's completely changed this area, and the amount of industry and whatnot. It's really changed the landscape around here. That's the A60 going over the top there. This bridge, that road, wasn't there back when that photo was taken. But you'll see on that photograph, we've got two locks. It's nice and cool under here. We'll go and have a look at those two locks. I think these are really interesting. And while we're on the subject of the restoration, it's what I was touching on earlier on in this video. This section that we're standing on here is also one of the restored sections. This was one of the first sections to be restored. So it had been in the mid-1990s. So just something to bear in mind if you're getting frustrated with the current progress down at Staveley. And this is Stretlock, or as people sometimes incorrectly refer to it as a street lock. What is Stret? Does anybody know? I'm sure somebody told me it was just short for street. Don't know if it's that simple or not. And if you can see there, a date on there. So this lock was had some work done on it last year, 2025. And if we carry on walking, we'll come to the second lock that we can see in that photograph. Love this lock, very impressive. And obviously the pub wasn't here back when this photo was taken, but you'll find the Lockkeeper pub just on the left-hand side here. Nice little location actually for a bit of refreshment. I believe the rise or the fall, whichever way you want to look at it, with this lock is 3 meters. So there we go. I thought it'd be just nice to come down and just have a look at some of the features that were in that old photograph. It's nice to get out on a different section of the canal as well, isn't it?
Perhaps the real measure of success isn't whether every mile is finished by a particular anniversary, but whether each generation leaves the canal in a better state than it found it. When you look at everything that's already been achieved over the last 3 decades, I'd say that's exactly what's happening. And that's why I'll keep coming back to follow this remarkable restoration story. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next video soon. Ta-ra!